Shalom, 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 shalom. Brother Thawalai back again with another lesson, Lord willing to be edifying. So we're continuing to see the escalation of Esau Edom as he prepares for his NWO, his MOT to the B, and all the other events that he has made plans, and we know that that Yahweh Shai is set according to Psalms 17 and 13 to disappoint him. So inevitably, he's going to be disappointed in his endeavors. Nevertheless, he's commanded through the power on the left-hand side to attempt and achieve a certain level of his adventure. So without further ado, as always, I want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rahachadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, bishops, leadership of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the house of David, to the 144,000, and to the men, women, and children scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. To you I say shalom. And for us, as always, the beginning, and I got nothing fancy, so, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I like to begin in Proverbs 9 and 9, and it reads, give instruction to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. And these are the things that we strive to do. We're not out there catching every fool and idiot moving, trying to give them understanding and trying to teach them something that they desire not to receive. It says the fear of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. And when you understand the times we're in, then you understand that this is Second Ezra 16, and we'll start at 37. It's a good place to start. And it reads, behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son. And those of us who have, experienced having children and been there, we've witnessed how those pains, when they begin to come, they're intermittent, and they increase and increase and increase. And by the time the child is coming forth, it's a lot of screaming going on because of the pains that she's experiencing, and this is where we're coming to as this age comes to a close. It says Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of that which followeth. And we're in those times now, you know, and that's Second Ezra 6:9. It says, "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." So we're in the time of the heel and the hand, you know. But continuing on, it says, "When the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment." So we know that we're coming close to those times because the chaos is accelerating globally, not just here in Babylon, but globally. Globally, there's the uproars, there's the famine, there's war, there's pestilence. All of these things are the beginning, and we are in the opening. And we've been in the opening, so to speak. Though many of our people don't see it, those that don't have that eye salve, you know, and those whose ears have been closed are not allowed to witness through open eyes. They witnessing it, but they have no clarity or understanding. You know, I was talking to a couple of Jakes, of the seasoned age, and in their mind, man, they still live in a world where they believe that there's this equality and that Esau can't do what Esau's, even though he's doing it. They're completely blanked out on, oh, he can't do that. Yeah, he can, and he's doing it. And your blindness and ignorance to it doesn't change the fact it's happening. Verse 39, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrows shall come upon it on every side. Says, "O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth." And let's get that definition for pilgrims, if we may. Oh, you know what? Let's see. I don't know. It may not be in the blue letter, but let us see. Yeah, sometimes these Bible apps are very interesting. Slovakia. You got to be kidding me. Slovakia, forgive me for a minute. As you can see, this thing is on 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 its own time, so to speak, because we all know there's a first, second, third Peter, but for some reason it's telling me right, unbelievable. So we'll get Pilgrim from here since they don't have the blue letter. Slovakia for that.
Strong's G 3927. Parepidemas. Parepidemas.
And it's one who comes from a foreign country into a city or land to reside there by the side of the natives, a stranger, sojourning in a strange place, a foreigner, in the NT Metif in reference to heaven as the native country, one who sojourns on earth. Let's see if we can get a little deeper. And the base, let's see, let's go to this one.
Strong's G 3844. Para. Para. Strong's G 1927. Epidemeo. Epidemeo.
Says to be a sojourner. And let's see if we can.
Truth.
Sojourner, to stay as a temporary resident. And it popped up in another window, so you're probably not seeing it. But essentially, this is what we're commanded to be, a sojourner. So, we're not just moving throughout this, we're not going to be set to one particular place. When these times come upon us, being pilgrims, we're going to be on the move, and Yahweh Ratazah, that he be amongst and with us and guiding us then we'll move when he gives command. When he tells to be still, we be still. When he says to move, we move. But we don't hesitate. We move when we're commanded to move. In those times, in those days, hey, you're gonna have to really, really, really be, led by faith and the spirit, because at the same time, you don't want to be moving all willy nilly, just rip, roaring, and running. But you want to know when to be still. You want to know when to move. You want to know when to do according as Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is leading. You know, and you definitely, if there is a leader that he has appointed amongst you, you definitely want to have a clarity on that. Because as we see, a lot of these leaders, they're not really for the sheep. They're really serving their own belly. They're for their own purpose, you know, and they're already, you know, drastically in the wrong. So when the time comes, it's not gonna go well for those that are following them, you know. And again, all of these things are happening, you know. And so I played the disclaimer, and I want to just play this video right here, real quick. It's just like a 2-minute video, and because we're coming into the time now where this the people are going to revolt against the powers that be. They're not going to, what I mean, continue to follow, these so-called leaders who are basically, man, they're getting what they need out of it, and the people, they're leaving, to the wolves. I mean, as we see right now, and it's crazy because they're showing this constantly, that among the Democrats and the Republicans, the people are calling for one thing, but their leadership is following along with what the miniature hats are wanting. You know what I mean? This Mamdani character who's running for mayor up there in New York. He's showing left, right, and sideways. He's showing the people that your constituents that claim that they care or claim that they have your interest in mind, are showing you blatantly. All of them, when the question was, if you become mayor, where are you going to go? And I'm going to the land of the nickel hats. I'm going to the land of the nickel hats. I'm going to go over to the land of the nickel hats. I'm going to my constituents. This is one man, and everybody condemned him for going to the people that supposedly are going to vote him in. You know, and they ridicule and scoff him and declare him to be unworthy of anything. But the fact is, who are you supposed to go to? You know what I mean? Somebody whose only consideration is to themselves, or to the people that are the ones that you're supposed to be representing. So there's a time coming, and it reads, let's see, this is again in 2nd Ezra 15, we'll start at 14, and it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Once again, woe, and we know that this, hey, matter of fact, let's see if we can, so I know we're not gonna find it in, we might, let's see if we can find it in the blue, I wish they had a blue letter. with the Apocrypha. Well, there we go.
Strong's H, 1945. Hoy.
Ah, alas, ha, ho, oh, whoa. All right. Here we go.
Whoa.
Great sorrow or distress, misery, sorrow, distress, wretchedness, unhappiness, heartache, heartbreak, despondency, desolation, despair, dejection, depression, gloom, melancholy, adversary, misfortune, disaster, affliction, suffering, hardship, pain, agony, grief, so on and so forth. So when we come back here, it's just so interesting how sometimes you just cannot. Anyway, it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword, what is the sword used for? It's a killing instrument. And their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men. Let's get that. We're just going to get that in a regular again.
Sedition.
Conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarchy. So, hey, so for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So let's go over here and see what our monarch, the king of Babylon, has to say. And we already stated the fair use.
Suing to stop President Donald Trump from sending National Guard troops to Chicago, escalating a clash between Democratic-led states and a Republican administration pursuing a federal crackdown on crime and illegal immigration.
Previously, in the last 9 presidencies combined, not including Trump 1, presidents have deployed the National Guard domestically for civil unrest in a grand total of 2 cases.
Federal judges have also stepped in, like Karen Immergut, who was appointed during Trump's first term and recently blocked National Guard deployments to Portland, Oregon.
There are lawsuits in California, Oregon, D.C., and now Illinois, pushing back on the grounds that these deployments are not only out of step with tradition and principles, they are illegal. And they're illegal because Trump is relying on a little-known law. It's 10 U.S.C. 12406.
This law, known as the Posse Comitatus Act, prohibits military enforcement of domestic law, which is done by civilian agencies. One exception is the Insurrection Act of 1807, which allows the president to deploy troops during invasions, rebellions, or when local authorities can't maintain order.
And that's a high bar. It can't just be the case that there are some incidents of protesters breaking the law, throwing things, obstructing vehicles. That's not sufficient.
And Trump has declared that, hey, if you're protesting, that's an open rebellion, which America supposedly is based upon you being able to protest, the things, a peaceful protest, so to speak. So they've been putting these plants in these different protests and getting these things to turn to a violent nature in order for them to bring about this thing that they're trying to achieve, And as we read in the beginning, you know what I mean? Hey, well, I don't know if we read it, but it says Psalms 17 and 13, and it reads, "Arise, Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword." So, hey, we call on Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai more and more and more to deliver us, or to keep us in these times, because we know that, hey, these times are going to become perilous.
Efficient because that is the kind of thing that civilian authorities can and do handle all the time. So it really has to be a very high level of violence or obstruction before it's appropriate to invoke this law. And this law, the Posse Comitatus Act, is one of the most important protections that we have for democracy and individual liberty in this country. It is what stops the president from using the military as a domestic police force. It can become a very powerful tool of oppression and tyranny, and at a minimum, using the military to police American citizens chills the exercise of rights that we all have as Americans in this country.
So, as you can see, hey, these things are coming, and there's nothing that's going to be done to stop it. Hey, it doesn't really matter whether or not it be this one or the next one. This thing it's already set. It's been written in stone, so to speak. There's nothing going to stop it. There's nothing going to change it. So really, you have one course of action. This is Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, and it reads, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. For the Most High shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil." These things is coming, and there's nothing going to be done to be able to stop it. Your best bet is to get yourself together and come in alignment with what Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai has set. Repent, turn back. You know what I mean? Change your ways. So with that, I want to close by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rahaha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, bishops, leadership of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the house of David, to the 144,000, to the men, women, and children scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. To you I say shalom. To those risking their lives day in and day out to bring this word to bear on Babylon. Shalom, 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 and wa ababa ba.